Opening the polls and setup procedures. Step 1. Polls must be set up and ready to open the doors at 7 a.m. Step 2. Remember your supervising judge has duties of their own. They are under time restraints to open the electronic voting machines on time. Please try very hard not to interfere with their process. Step 3. This is the time to hang up your signs, set up your provisional table and poll book table, and go through and organize your supplies. Cell phones. If a cell phone is provided, take this time during your setup procedures to make sure the phone is turned on and charged. Please note that no other personal cell phones should be in use. Voters are not permitted to have their cell phones turned on while they are in the building. Field judges. There may be a field judge on site in the morning and evening to assist the supervising judge if a problem should arise. We will have field judges visiting the sites throughout the day for any questions or supplies you may need. Please respect their services. Try not to engage them in conversation or questions regarding the setup of your polling place. Any questions you may have about setup, please wait for the supervising judge to be free to answer those questions. Shields. Once the machines are open, you need to place the black shields on top of the booth. There are Velcro tabs on top of the booth and on the shields. These are used to keep the sides of the booth in to further provide privacy to the voters. Steps for greeting your voter. Step 1. Read your voter. These machines are easy to use, but some people may become intimidated with them when getting ready to use them. Your job will be to determine just how much help they may need. Step 2. Always ask your voter if they are a first-time voter. Step 3. Ask if they are familiar with the electronic voting machines and do they feel comfortable. Step 4. Those voters who are not familiar with the machines will need a full explanation of the voting process. Step 5. Some voters, particularly elderly, may be uncomfortable and even want you to stand on the other side of the machine and offer them step-by-step help. Note, you can use screen prints that are provided in your supplies. Step 6. Other voters who have used the Ivotronic machines before or younger voters may want you to leave so they can start voting. Step 7. Practice your best customer service skills. Step 8. Always be courteous to the voter and respect their privacy. How to start a voter on the machines. Step 1. Note how many machines are available. Try to space people far enough apart so as not to encroach on someone else's sense of privacy. Step 2. Call up their ballot while explaining your actions. The voter would appreciate being informed. Note, if you have more than one precinct, you will receive a piece of paper from the voter informing you of their ballot type. Step 3. Once the instruction page is on the screen, explain the procedures to the voter. Let them know how to push the View Ballot button on the bottom of the screen. See next slide for an example of the View Ballot button. Before pushing this button yourself, be sure to ask the voter if that is okay. Step 4. If you push the View Ballot button for the voter, let the voter know you pushed the View Ballot button before they start voting. Then ask the voter if they have any questions. Now you can walk away from the voting machine. Step 5. Once a voter has started to vote and they have a question, be sure to stand in front of the voting machine. You may want to take up the screen prints and ask them what page they are having problems with. Never walk to the same side the voter is on while in the voting process, unless you complete an affidavit of assistance. Please note the red box at the bottom of the screen shows the location of the View Ballot button. Once the button is pressed, the official ballot will appear. Noteworthy tips. Privacy is a very big concern for voters. Be available when they need you, but also be prepared to walk away from their voting machine when they feel comfortable. Obviously, standing around will give the voter the impression that you are trying to see their votes, and we don't want them to feel that way. Make sure that you do not pull any provisional people out of the provisional line. In most polling places, the provisional table will be far enough away that this will not be an issue. The provisional voter's ballot may or may not count, and therefore the provisional voter votes on a paper ballot. Make sure that you are spending some time working with the voting machines and some time on the poll books. If you feel you have been standing or sitting too long, feel free to switch positions. If the provisional table is not busy, they can help as well. Be considerate of your team. More noteworthy tips. Remember, you are being observed by the voter. Be sure to always have that smile ready and a willing attitude. The day will go by much faster. Watch for election and/or campaign material being left behind. Watch for voters who may be wearing candidate pins, shirts, or other forms of propaganda. You will need to ask them to remove their pins and turn their shirts inside out. Direct them to the restroom if necessary to accommodate those changes. Watch voters closely so they are not tampering with the flashcards or plugins. If you have an ADA machine, treat it like any other machine. We don't want only ADA votes on this machine to give the impression the votes can be traced to individual voters. Troubleshooting. If someone walks away from the machines and doesn't finish voting, 2 people must then go to the voting side of the machine to finish the process. These 2 people are ideally a Republican and a Democrat. If the voter was on the first screen, hit the next button until you reach Press here to cast your ballot now, and then press Cast Ballot Now. If they are at the Cast Your Ballot Now screen, press Cast Your Ballot Now. Note, see the next slide to show the location of these buttons. This is a screenshot of where you need to be if a voter walks away from the voting machine. Hit Next until you get to the flashing green button that says Press here to cast your ballot now. Hit the button and then press Confirm on the next screen to cast the ballot. Remember, have 2 people do this, preferably 1 from each party. Troubleshooting continued. If the wrong ballot type gets selected, call your supervising judge. The supervising judge needs to cancel the ballot. Note, see the red manual for the Cancel Ballot tab. Again, it is extremely important for those of you who have more than 1 precinct on your voting machines to select the correct ballot type. Don't forget, check the power connection at the top of the voting machines. Some voters think it's a pen or pointing tool. Always check the machine's plugs for power. Watch for the light. Check the night light periodically, making sure there is power to all the machines. More troubleshooting. If the machine beeps, figure out why it is beeping. You may simply need to touch the screen. Call your supervising judge if beeping continues and you cannot figure out why. If the voting machine starts running slow, check connections and electricity because the voting machine is probably running on battery power. What to expect from the day. Be nice, courteous, and polite to all voters. Don't hold up the check-in line or voting line by visiting. If they are your friends and neighbors, you will have to be considerate of the other voters and tell your neighbor you will talk with them another time. Do not talk about political issues or candidates in the polling location. Take your time and check your work. This is extremely important when working with different ballot types. Example, multiple precincts in 1 polling location. You will not be able to leave the polling place during the day. If you leave, you will not be able to return. What to bring. Bring your lunch. Some polling places have kitchens. Your polling place may not. Be sure to plan ahead or have someone bring in your lunch. Snacks are good to bring. It can be a long day. Bring your favorite drinks and bring something to do, such as crossword puzzles, books, or sewing for the downtime. These are nice in the slower elections. Something you might want to consider is to visit with your supervising judge and your team. Find out what they are doing as a group. A good time to plan is at the election class. If you have questions, visit with your team. We try to stay with experienced judges that may already have an answer for you. If the supervising judge doesn't know the answer, they can call the office or ask the field judge. If you still don't have the answer, please give us a call at the county clerk's office. We'd love to help. Thank you, and we appreciate your hard work.